Now it is time for the news where you are. Goodbye.
Thanks, Sophie. Good evening from BBC London. Coming up this Monday evening, blighting a Hertfordshire farm. This huge pile of fly-tipped rubbish has been there for more than 6 months, and the landowner says they can't afford to get rid of it.
We're seeing industrial scale fly tips happening on a regular basis. It shouldn't then be on the farmer to have to clear this waste up. It's costing the industry tens of millions of pounds every year to clear up when ultimately it's not their responsibility.
There are calls to change regulations so victims of fly tipping don't have to foot the clean-up costs. Also tonight.
Why are you charging so much for this job? Why is it costing so much?
More on our investigation on rogue locksmiths. We've had a huge response from you about similar scams. We answer some of your questions on polygamous working. When is it okay and not okay to work multiple jobs at the same time? Plus, the London filmmaker who's come up with what could be a world first and how it could soon be coming to a screen near you. Hello and a very warm welcome to the programme. Lovely to have you with us. Now, take a look at this fly tipping. Around 200 tonnes of rubbish dumped on a farmer's field in Hertfordshire. We first brought you the story last year, but today, 6 months on, it's still there. It is legally the responsibility of the landowner to clear rubbish, but he says he can't afford the estimated £40,000 cost to clear it. Our environment correspondent Tom Edwards sent this report from St Albans.
6 months on, and this field near St Albans is still full of fly-tipped rubbish. There's asbestos and household and medical waste here, and it's toxic. At the moment, it's the responsibility of the farmer to pay to clear it up. He can't afford it and wants to stay anonymous. Will is the neighbouring farmer.
I think the big thing is that it's totally unjust in that he is a victim of crime. He quite clearly is a victim of crime. And then, under the current law, he becomes a criminal if he doesn't pay to put the crime right. It's just absolutely aberration of justice.
What about the clear-up? Who do you think should be paying for it then? The Environment Agency, because it is toxic?
The clear up, well, it must come from the taxpayer. Let's be honest, the government has to make a system work so that the taxpayer pays. It's totally unjust, totally unfair that the landowner has to pay to clear up this rubbish.
Fly tipping like this is a growing problem in the home counties. In this case, there have been no prosecutions. Often gangs spot unprotected land and fly tip huge quantities in just days. The National Farmers Union wants a reform of the system so farmers aren't punished.
Fly tipping is a very serious problem here in Hertfordshire. We're seeing industrial scale fly tips happening on a regular basis. It shouldn't then be on the farmer to have to clear this waste up. It's costing the industry tens of millions of pounds every year to clear up when ultimately it's not their responsibility.
The Environment Agency says it will do everything possible to ensure that those who dump waste pay for the cost of removing it. But if that is not possible, it becomes the landowner's responsibility. And the local council is only in charge of enforcement. At the moment, there seems little sign of this site being cleared. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Well, the issue of fly tipping, rubbish and recycling is something the BBC will be looking at in detail this month. And of course, we want to hear your stories. So do get in touch. The email address is on your screen, as you can see. It's hellobbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Thanks for being with us. Lots more to come tonight, including...
I'm at a restaurant in Regent Street that's been an institution here for nearly 100 years. It's hosted politicians and film stars, but it could be facing closure. Find out why later in the programme.
Let's bring you more now on our BBC London investigation exposing rogue locksmiths who lure customers in with a cheap quote before adding on hidden charges for unnecessary work and, in some cases, damaging locks and doors beyond repair. They scam Londoners out of hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds. Well, the response from you has been huge. Someone said their elderly neighbour was charged £1,800. We've also heard from many reputable locksmiths concerned about how these rogue traders are damaging their industry. Here's our investigations reporter, Jessica Ure, with an update.
It's the alleged scam that the industry call the 49er.
So to open it, I'm gonna have to drill the lock, because in the back of this you have a mechanism which is locking the door, so I need access to that mechanism.
It's when a rogue locksmith baits a customer with an affordable initial quote.
Butchery at its finest.
Last week, we exposed the locksmith scam sweeping the capital. We challenged one company called 24/7 Locksmiths UK over allegations of overcharging. Their locksmith told us it had been a miscommunication issue, and we reached out to the company, but they've yet to respond. Since Friday, hundreds of you have reached out to us, sharing your own experiences of being scammed by rogue locksmiths. There have been allegations of intimidation, harassment, and even sexual assault on people's doorsteps.
People have told us that they've been intimidating when they've been asked to leave. They've made a right fuss and threatened people with violence if they won't leave. And we had one lady in our local area who had to call on her neighbours to ask the man to leave.
We've heard similar stories from other Londoners affected by the 49er scam.
I helped my elderly neighbour late one night. This lady is in her 90s and has dementia. They charged £1,800.
They threatened her on the doorstep and glued her only working lock. Pure criminal damage.
The locksmith came back when I complained and sexually assaulted me. He was arrested on the scene. This is frightening.
It's massively damaging. As I said, it taints the whole industry. It makes all locksmiths questionable. If somebody's had a bad experience with a rogue, every locksmith would love to see these companies close down.
We're sticking with the story and what campaigners say needs to change around the industry. You can get in touch via the QR code on your screens now.
Yeah, please do get in touch. Turning now to a roundup of some more of the day's stories. A van driver who fatally knocked down a university student while she was sitting on a bench near her King's College campus in central London has pleaded guilty to her killing. Christopher Jackson admitted causing the death of the 20-year-old Alia Mohammed by dangerous driving, as well as injuring 2 others. He'll be sentenced next month. The owners of 3 North London cafes are taking legal action against the City of London Corporation, claiming an unfair tender process after losing their Hampstead Heath and Queen's Park sites to new operator Daisy Green. The corporation has rejected the claim that the process was unlawful, saying it was an open one with over 30 submissions, including from the current operators. And a bus driver who was sacked for punching a thief has said he would not want his job back, but would like an apology and compensation for lost earnings from the bus operator. Footage of the incident in 2024 posted online led to a petition being started to reinstate Mark Hare. A Metroline spokesperson says the tribunal has upheld the dismissal as fair. Next, recently on the programme, we've been talking about polygamous working, where someone works multiple, often full-time jobs at the same time without their employer knowing. It's after a worker was convicted of fraud for having 2 full-time jobs at different London councils at the same time. Well, this story raised quite a few questions from you about when it is and isn't OK to work multiple jobs. Our work and money correspondent Megan Owen is here. Hi, Megan. Let's start with a general one people have asked on social media. Is polygamous working a problem if they're fulfilling their duties?
It's the big question. Well, we started looking into this because of efforts to crack down on the practice in the public sector. The government and councils have said that they think this is a waste of taxpayers' money, and they're concerned that this is happening more and more because of the rise in remote working. Now, I actually spoke to somebody who admitted to polygamous working in the past. Imtiaz is now CEO of a tech startup, but he worked for the public sector in a finance role and then took on a second secret job in the private sector.
My job was boring. I automated a lot of stuff using Excel. I was on Reddit all day, so I just did a side contract. I made some money. They were happy they got someone who was kind of automating their systems, but it was boring and I was bored. And I shouldn't have worked there, but yeah.
Did you feel bad?
I was not being paid well enough to feel bad.
So is it right? Is it wrong? Well, it all boils down to the contract. If your contract says that you cannot work multiple jobs at the same time, then you could be prosecuted for fraud or fired, because that is unlawful.
OK. Now, Megan, one of the most asked questions sent in to us was, can MPs work multiple jobs?
Yeah, I think there was a sense of, there's one rule for some and another for others. The short answer is that yes, MPs, if they're not a minister, can work multiple jobs. This has been subject to rising scrutiny over the years, but they have to have a contract and they must declare it in what's known as the Register of Interests. Now, I looked through that latest Register of Interests and found that 144 out of 650 MPs had declared extra earnings or income ranging from writing articles and books to being business consultants, but it is not polygamous working if they have declared it.
OK, well, in a similar vein, what about this one that was asked? Can doctors work multiple jobs?
Yeah, they can in the private and in private sector and the NHS. Now, most doctors who do that are consultants, but they also have to stick to a few rules. They have to let the NHS know that they're also working privately, and they must ensure that this doesn't have a detrimental impact on NHS services, and there must not be a conflict of interest. Now, if they stick to those rules, that also does not count as polygamous working.
So transparency is the key.
Exactly.
Now, this is an interesting one sent in from Brian. Have a listen.
If this is a secret second job, if it's with the civil service and they get a pension, are they getting a secondary pension that's fraudulent?
It's an interesting question, isn't it, from Brian? Now, it's interesting because the government actually uses data from people's pensions to spot whether workers are polygamously working in the public sector. But the short answer is yes, it is. It could be fraud. And for more on the legal side of this, I spoke to Kajal Nathwani, who is an employment lawyer.
They're claiming for the same pension fund across two different jobs that they're holding at the same time. So because they're contributing more than they would if they only held one job, the accumulation of their benefits is to their advantage. And that's the fraudulent aspect of it.
So I think this is quite multi-layered. In the public sector, you could be convicted of fraud for false representation, but also for having multiple pensions, which kind of begs the question, why people are ramping up efforts to tackle this practice in the public sector and why the government is so keen to find people who are polygamously working.
OK. Megan, lots to get through there. Thank you. And as you say, prompted many questions, but it is very, very topical as well. Megan Owen, our Work and Money correspondent there. Thank you. Now, there was a new type of train that went into service this weekend in West London. The reconditioned former tube train is the first in the UK to be powered only by batteries and was met with delight by rail enthusiasts. It's also hoped the technology could be a game changer for more sustainable travel. Paul Murphy explains.
A day 22 months in the making. The UK's first train powered only by batteries goes into service for the first time. And train enthusiasts like podcaster Richard Bowker have been stopping by to get a glimpse of the new technology.
Really good. I mean, after I think almost sort of 2 years of development, they've got this into service. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it works. Terrific.
And this is how it all works. The yellow pads between the rails connect with the train when it arrives. For just over 3 minutes, it charges the train before it leaves again. Last year, it was able to travel for just over 200 miles on a single charge, beating the previous world record of 139 miles.
The government wants to replace diesel-only trains by 2040 as part of efforts to become more sustainable. But is battery power robust enough, especially when you factor in the Great British weather?
That system's extremely robust. We spent the last 22 months just proving every aspect of that. Come rain or shine, we've looked at, as you mentioned, leaves on the line, on the charging rails, rubbish, oil and ice, all sorts of things, just to make sure that there's nothing that could stop the train charging. And it's all gone really well.
But what do passengers think of the new train?
Is very comfortable, although the ironing board seats do leave a lot to be desired, but there's a lot of variety on this train. You've got the old longitudinal seats as well to choose from.
Seems very nice. Yeah, it's very different, isn't it, from the last ones? Yeah, very different. Nice.
Comfortable?
Yes,
yeah, seems to be clean and bright. Yeah.
For now, the Class 230 is only running on the 2.5-mile branch line from West Ealing to Greenford, and only on Saturdays. GWR is working with the government and other train operators to build a case to invest in battery-powered trains, so it's hoped this will be seen as a game-changer for sustainable travel. Paul Murphy, BBC London.
Still to come before the end of the programme. We'll meet the London filmmaker who's come up with what's thought to be a world first and is changing the industry. A look at some more local stories on BBC News. In Surrey, watch the ongoing repairs a week after a landslip left parts of a railway track hanging off the edge of an embankment. And did you know Slough is Europe's largest data hub? But why is the town such a hotspot for data centres? Plus, as Luton Carnival prepares to celebrate its 50th anniversary, it's moving to a new location. For more on those and other stories where you live, just head to the BBC News app. Now, it's thought to be the oldest surviving Indian restaurant in the country. This year marks 100 years since Veeraswamy opened on Regent Street, which has seen much change through the decades, from serving food during the Blitz to hosting big names as a top West End venue. But it's been facing an uncertain future because of a dispute with its landlord, the Crown Estate, over not having its lease renewed. Well, my colleague Victoria Hollins is at the Michelin star restaurant this evening and can tell us more. Hi, Vic.
Riz, as you say, this restaurant is an institution on Regent Street. It's been here since 1926. Service has started already over there. I'm told this will fill up very shortly. It's hosted film stars, it's hosted politicians over the years, and back in 2016, when it was its 90th birthday, it got a Michelin star. But as you say, the future is uncertain because the landlords, the Crown Estate, want to redevelop this building. And they say that it is not compatible with a restaurant remaining in any form, that is. Well, let's find out some more about the story. I'm joined by co-owners Ranjit Mathrani and Namita Punjabi. Thanks for joining us this evening. Give us your reaction to the news when you found out last year that you were basically going to possibly have to close.
Consternation, amazement, dismay and disbelief.
How's it come to this?
We failed to understand really what happened. They were proposing we have the whole of the upper floors 6 months previously, and it came as a total surprise when they turned around and told us that we'd have to move out because they wanted to use our 11 square meters of a ground floor entrance to enlarge a reception desk, which was, we were absolutely in disbelief because of that. And we had no option but to go to the courts and file our case in the courts, which will then be heard at the end of June this year. But that is the last analysis, the last resort.
And Namita, there is huge history here, isn't there? Tell us about that.
Well, Veeraswamy is a much-loved institution. It's not a restaurant, it's an institution. And it's really the fountainhead of culinary history, of Indo-British culinary history. And what the Crown Estate are seeking to do is to wipe it out forever.
one of the original businesses still left in Regent Street, aren't you?
Absolutely. Together with Hamleys and with Liberties, we are one of the 3 oldest tenants. So it's very sad if this street is without Veeraswamy forever.
The Crown Estate say that they've offered to find new premises, they've offered compensation, but none of that is right for you?
The compensation is derisory. It's a statutory compensation and would barely cover 2-3 months turnover. Their offer to find premises is hollow. They actually have not followed through on that in any shape or form in any meaningful manner.
And you've got a petition, 18,000 signatures. I think you're going to take it somewhere in a couple of months?
Yes, we have got a petition of 18,000 customers who have come and supported us, and we're presenting it at Buckingham Palace in 2-3 weeks' time as well.
We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time this evening. And just to say, we heard from the Crown Estates who've said to us that they have a statutory responsibility to create long-term value for the UK. They need to have a comprehensive refurb of Victory House, this building, to bring it to modern standards and into full use. They haven't taken the decision lightly, and they've offered to find new premises in the West End and offered financial compensation, as you heard. Planning permission was granted for these changes here last summer. So the way things stand, it is the petition and then potential legal action later this year before we know exactly what will finally happen to this Regent Street institution. Riz, back to you.
OK, Victoria, live from Regent Street there. Thanks very much. Well, it's been a busy day in the world of football because, yes, it's transfer deadline day. And BBC Radio London has a special programme on air right now and on the iPlayer with former West Ham and England goalkeeper Rob Green, there he is, and guests. Our sports team will have the latest news and updates right up to 8 p.m. this evening, and you can see them in the studio. You can watch it live. Just search Transfer Deadline Day on BBC iPlayer or listen live on your smart speaker. Just say, play BBC Radio London. Rob there with his guests until 8 o'clock this evening. Now, a filmmaker from London has come up with what could be a world first. He worked with engineers to develop a camera system just for wheelchairs. The equipment has now been used in several productions and aims to make filming more accessible for all. Gemma Riley has been to meet him.
If I had something like this years ago, that I could have then had that vision and I would be able to lay out a path for a career, amazing, who knows where I'd be today.
Chris Lynch has brittle bone disease and is a wheelchair user. Over the years, he's created a number of successful companies responsible for podcasts, documentaries and productions, but filming had always been a problem.
People within the disabled community have, I guess, resigned themselves to the fact that they can't do these tasks. And that has been embedded for many, many years.
It works by a mount attached to the side of Chris's wheelchair. He then operates it through a control panel on his lap.
So it's very fast and enables you to track people running, jogging, even cars at a slow speed. It means that I can actually hold a camera and I can shoot. I could actually be a camera operator, something that I really longed to do for many years.
Chris is now showcasing the system to other studios, filmmakers, and even those in university that have ambitions to go into the industry. Jasmine is a student at LMA and has hemiplegia.
I can't use my body all the way down on the right side. The way that it works is you use your body to operate forwards and backwards. There's so many different ways that you can use it that it's really accessible for a lot of people.
He's also using the camera to enhance current disability-led productions that are happening in London, like Owen Tooth, who is the first wheelchair user director for EastEnders.
I'm most excited as a director. I think it just opens up storytelling possibilities for me that were out of reach before. So as a director, looking at a system like this, there's so much I can do. And with a collaborator like Chris operating the camera, it feels so freeing.
Enabling people to now become camera operators is just such a milestone, especially within the disabled community. And I'd love to see more and more people be able to access this equipment across the entire industry. It's exciting and I can't wait to see where it takes us.
Gem O'Reilly, BBC London.
Fascinating. Now, I don't know about you, but it feels like it's rained pretty much all of January. So can February offer something drier? Well, Kate has joined us for a look at the weather. In fact, you've rocked down to Electric Avenue by the looks of things.
Certainly have, Riz. Yes, the grey skies of Brixton there this morning. It has rained pretty much all of January. And the Met Office published their statistics for January today. And it was the 6th wettest across the south of England for January. But for Surrey, it was the 2nd wettest since records began, which was 1836. So that kind of spells out just how wet it's been. Today, it was another grey start. Now, this week, it is going to stay quite unsettled. We won't see quite as much rain as we did last week, but it's falling on saturated ground. We're still going to get some, and it still could cause some issues. This was earlier, grey skies across London. They were pretty much everywhere, but a few little brighter spells. You can see just a little glimpse of something brighter there earlier on in Greenwich. Now, as we head into this evening, this was what happened earlier. Had a few spots of light rain and drizzle mixed into that thicker cloud. A few breaks, though, right now, actually, as we head into this evening. Short-lived, sadly, because coming up from the southwest is our next front. Now, it doesn't really make its way too much towards us until dawn tomorrow, where South London, west of London, you're likely to get the rain. To the north, it's going to be cloudy, that cloud thick enough to produce some light rain and some drizzle underneath. The minimum temperature, though, above 0, 4 or 5 Celsius. Now, as we head through Tuesday, this is slowly going to make its way a bit further north. What's happening is there's a blocking high north of the UK, which means this front is just stalling. It takes its time to move further north, which means we're stuck with all the rain tomorrow. And like I said earlier, it is falling on saturated ground, could be quite heavy, relatively persistent and likely to linger into the afternoon. Temperatures 5, 6 Celsius. The wind a bit lighter. I didn't mention tonight's wind. It's going to be quite fresh, actually. It's an easterly wind, but it will get a little bit lighter through Tuesday. Now, the rain, in the most part, will lift away overnight Tuesday to drier conditions. Still 1 or 2 showers around, but some breaks in the cloud. Wind lighter, 4 or 5 Celsius. The minimum temperature still staying above 0. Now, for Wednesday, a little bit of respite. Yes, we're still going to have a bit of cloud, but that cloud should break and milder air actually is coming in from the south. So temperatures for Wednesday getting up to around 11. But then as we head into Thursday, we might just see a bit of cold air coming back in. So again, it's a bit topsy-turvy, the weather this week. It is going to stay rather unsettled, though. Wednesday being our perhaps only dry day with a few sunny spells to enjoy as we head through the afternoon. But then outbreaks of rain, but temperature's not bad, staying mostly in double figures. Riz.
I'm staying optimistic. Thank you, Kate. Thanks very much. And that is where we leave you this Monday. Thanks very much for watching. And before we go, huge congratulations to South East Londoner Lola Young, winning a Grammy for Best Pop Solo Performance, and to London's Olivia Dean, who won Best New Artist. You can see more about her on our website and on our Instagram. Also there, by the way, the Banksy that inspired an art gallery. From me and everyone on the BBC London team, whatever you're doing, have a lovely evening. Take care. Bye-bye.